Hey everyone, Duke Nukem 3D here with some more garbage from my collection. Today I have for you my United States M13A1 Hospital Collective Protector Headpiece, or M13A1 Headwound gas mask. Now, the purpose of a headwound mask is basically to supply a protective mask for those with obviously head wounds that cannot seal in a normal protective mask due to bandages or deformity or something of that nature. And essentially, most head wound mask designs historically have been elongated hoods that seal around the neck rather than at the back of the head with a head harness. The M13A1 got its beginnings in World War II as the M711A1 head wound protective mask, which is very similar to the M13 design. However, the main differences were that the M7 used several additional tie straps along the hood. The M7 design that sparked the M13 series was also made out of a clear vinylite hood material. However, prototypes that exist at Fort Leonard Wood show it originally being made out of a black sheet rubber, similar patterned off of the German Kopfverletzen GM Gasschutzhaube head wound mask from the Second World War, which is what the M13 and M7 were closely patterned off of. But anyways, the M7 head wound mask continued usage from 1944 onwards into the 1950s, where they decided that the additional head straps were not really that necessary, so it was amended with the M13, which, as I mentioned, got rid of those additional head straps, and it also replaced the gray plastic M8 outlet valve with a white rubber C15 valve. The original M13 was introduced sometime in the early 1950s and continued usage into Vietnam probably shortly after, when it was upgraded as the M13A1. The M13A1, basically exactly the same as the original M13, however, it had a C19 plastic cage outlet valve, similar to what you would see on an M22 or CD V805 civilian defense mask. You know, the gray mask that sort of looks like the XM28, but it's for civilians. But anyhow, the first amendment of the M13A1 was relatively short-lived, and it seems to have only been used during the Vietnam period, and was quickly amended with the M13A1 you see here, which uses the white neck tie cord similar to the original M13. I forgot to mention that the early M13A1s had green webbing instead of like a cotton white, as you see here. And it also used a black C15 valve as opposed to a white on the M13 or the semi-translucent plastic cage C19 valve like on the early M13A1s. But overall, the kit remained the same, consisting of the M13A1 hood, and typically early on these masks were used with a standalone M11 filter, and I don't doubt that they still could be used for that function. The M11 filter was retained up until the 1990s because it was still in use with the Toxicological Agents Protective Ensemble, but from pretty much the 1950s onwards, these masks were proprietarily used with collective protector systems, hence the upgrade in designation as Headpiece Hospital Collective Protector. Because unlike the World War II M11, like I said, these were no longer primarily used with standalone M11 filters. These had a 60mm to hose adapter to hook up to a M13. I believe the collective protector unit was called the M13. It might have been called the M14, actually. Some form of collective protector unit, which was essentially a giant blower unit. It was a powered filter that sucked in the air, filtered it, and then forced it into the masks so that the hoods would be constantly positive pressure and inflated. Similar to how a tank crew gas mask works, except these were obviously designed for head wound patients. Excuse me. So, other key features to mention about the current M13A1 design. As you can see, it's still made out of the same clear vinylite material as the original M7 head wound from World War II. You can clearly see the black C15 valve. Mine is dated 1980, made by ILC Dover, and most of the ones you'll see on the market are going to be exactly like this. The M11 filter I have on here, again, is just for display purposes. This would probably not be correct. These were collective protector usage pretty much only at that point. but a nice little demonstration of my late 1980s MSA M11. You may also notice that the inlet valve does not have any, actually it is not an inlet valve at all, it's just some bare threads. There's no valve whatsoever on the inside of this thing, which is kind of strange, but considering it is a positive pressure mask, it doesn't surprise me. The C-15 is a typical affair, same unchanged design since World War II, nothing special there. And again, you have the 2 plastic tie cords and some permanently fused in patches. This one on the back of the head here is not actually to loop the straps through to achieve a tighter seal. No, this was meant so that basically if there was an NBC environment happening, the operators of an armored personnel carrier or field ambulance, something like that, they could hang the masks at the ready by those little loops there. So essentially, if they came across a gas casualty, they could just easily take the mask off the hook and then put it on them without having to unfold it and then set it all up with the collective protector. Just a means of having the mask ready. You may also notice that there is an integrated lens into the vinylite. You'd kind of wonder why not just make the entire hood out of a completely translucent material. I don't know for myself, but that's just the way they designed it. Just allowing a somewhat decent degree of accuracy or visibility, to observe the patient while wearing the mask, but obviously needing a more high visibility lens to see out of. The carrier that typically comes with this mask is made out of the same vinylite material as the mask itself, or I should say hood. As you can see, U.S. Headpiece Hospital Collective Protector, M13A1. You have a, I don't know what this material is, it's not Bakelite, but I think it's the material they use to make circuit boards. I could be wrong though, but that's the buckle. And as you can see, you have a patch here to stiffen the carrier, and how once it is inside this portion here, the flaps here are folded in on themselves and then rolled down, such as this. And then there's obviously a strap of this very weird vinyl coated loose cotton material. It's mostly just vinyl, but it's like reinforced with some cotton material or nylon. I don't know what it is, but it's very weird and very medical feeling. But another thing I should mention, these masks are meant to be disposable, obviously. They're very cheap. They don't hold up well to time. In fact, one of the corners of mine, I don't think it's on this side, it's on the other side, but one of the seams is starting to split near the bottom from inverting the hood and inspecting the interior and things of that nature. So these are these are still uncommon on the surplus market, and that is mostly because, believe it or not, these are still in use today. This is a mask that has served from, the design has served from World War II and is still in use today. And that's honestly amazing. And the reason I say that is because I've seen examples on eBay that are dated, they have a packaging date of approximately 2006. I think the one I saw was August 2006. And they aren't marked M13A1, interestingly enough. They are just marked Headpiece Hospital Collective Protector with no designation. But I still believe that they're still exactly the same otherwise as M13A1s. But I still believe, I think the only reason these are so plentiful, well, I mean, that these have come onto the surplus market in any extent, is because most of these are being replaced with the hospital, the patient chemical protective wrap, which is essentially just a body bag made out of NBC suit material that has an integrated blower unit. It's kind of funny, really, but obviously these are a lot easier to handle and requires less time to set up and get using, so they're still kept in service, and for the most part at least. But anyhow, yeah, these are a bit uncommon, so if you can find one of these for a decent price, I personally wouldn't pay more than $40 for one of these, even though that's kind of what I did when I bought this. But again, back then they were pretty rare. So yeah, not much else to say on these. I can't really show you the interior because it's going to be kind of awkward trying to invert the hood. But I suppose I'll take it off the head to just show you the markings on the front of the chest area here. Even though it's something special to see, it's literally the same stuff that it says on the carrier. But what the hell, for the sake of continuity and, documentation, I'll give you a good look at that. So taking it off the head here, as you can see, literally just the most basic shape you could possibly get with this. Nothing special about it, but these are quite fragile masks and they don't hold up well to time. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm kind of rambling again here, so I'll go ahead and wrap up the video. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to leave them below in the comments, and I'll answer them when I can. Hope you enjoyed. I'm Duke New 3D, and I will see you all later.